Hey, it's Grady at Twin Creek Audio. I've made a lot of videos here on the channel about hybrid mixing, including videos on how to set up for hybrid mixing and even recording with an analog mixer and an audio interface. Today I'm featuring a mixer that is kind of an all-in-one hybrid recording and mixing solution. It's the Allen Heath Zed R16 firewire mixer. This is an analog mixer with an 18 input-output audio interface built in. It also functions as a MIDI controller. All of the faders can be assigned to faders in your DAW, and it has some additional controls here that can be mapped to functions in your DAW. In this video, I'm going to go over some of the basics of the Allen Heath Zed R16 and then try it out by running some tracks through it to see what it sounds like for mixing and summing. I'm also going to have some videos coming where I'm going to record some things with the Zed R16 and also a more elaborate hybrid mixing video where I connect some outboard gear and processing to the mixer. We're looking at the top of the Allen Heath Zed R16 firewire mixer. This is a 16 channel analog mixer combined with an 18 by 18 channel digital audio interface. Each of the main 16 channels has a send out of firewire to the DAW, and it also has an input coming back from the DAW. So basically you've got a full 18 by 18 audio interface built into this analog mixer. I'm going to start from the top with each of these main channels. So you've got a mic input, a line input, an insert, individually switchable 48 volt phantom power, which is fantastic. The gain control for mic or line input, it has a high pass filter that is at 100 Hertz. Then you have a 4-band EQ. This is one of the most impressive features of this little mixing console, is this has two fully parametric mid bands. That means the bandwidth or Q control, that's the shape of the frequency that you're boosting or cutting, is variable on the two mid bands. The EQ also has an on-off switch, which is a really convenient feature for A-Bing your EQ with the dry signal. You have 4 auxiliary sends, 2 of them are pre-fader and 2 are post-fader. And then the pan control, mute control, PFL or pre-fader listen, which is like solo, but pre-fader listen is different than solo in place. This will solo the incoming signal on the channel before the fader. Then you have the left-right assign switch. This console apparently only has one analog bus, just the left-right. There's not 8 buses like a lot of analog consoles have. In the master section of the console, you've got an additional 4 stereo channels. The first 2 stereo channels have 2-band EQ, and they have access to the 2 pre-fader aux sends, 1 and 2. A balance control, and of course the level is not on a fader, it's on a regular potentiometer. It also has pre-fader listen and assign switches to assign these stereo channels to the main left-right mix. Then you've got 2 stereo channels here, 3 and 4, which don't have any EQ or access to aux sends. They just can go to the left-right mix, and you have PFL for those as well. Stereo 1 and 2 have a choice of RCA or quarter-inch inputs. Stereo 3 and 4 have only quarter-inch inputs. This has 2 studio sends, Studio 1 and Studio 2. These have source switches, so you can select combinations of different things to send out to speakers in the studio or headphone mixes. So these are basically for your monitor mixes. Then over here you have the 4 aux masters, each with a PFL. The Studio 1 and 2 also have a PFL, so you can audition the combination that you've got set up here. Then you have the outputs for these 2 studio sections here, the 4 aux outputs right there. Then you've got a 2-track output, a 2-track in, and you've got inserts for the master bus, which is a really nice feature to have. This console also has 2 sets of control room outs, so you can set up 2 sets of studio monitors with this. Then you've got 2-track in 1 on RCA jacks, 2-track in 2 on quarter-inch. This is where you can select some of these 2-track combinations. You can dub 2 to 1, 1 to 2. 2 to 1 or 1 to 2 dubbing right here. Track 2 replace left-right, so you can have this 2-track 1 come down here and replace your main left-right with this switch. And then you got a talkback level, the talkback mic button. where the talkback mic is going, either to studio or to the two pre-fader aux sends 1 and 2. You've also got phones level and control room level here, and these are the source switches to select what you want to send to control room and the built-in headphone jack. Now this is separate from these two studio outputs, so you can have a separate headphone mix in the control room from what you're sending to the musicians. Your headphone out's over here too. And then we have the awesome MIDI section here. Of course, these main faders can be set to be MIDI faders, but you also have all these buttons and these knobs here that can be set to control things in a DAW or a soft synth or anything like that. It even has transport controls here. These buttons will hold banks of different things, so you can assign more than just the 8 buttons that are here. You also have 4 MIDI faders that are programmable. I kind of wish this console had actual analog subgroups, because that would be really useful for things like parallel compression. But you don't get analog subgroups with this mixer. You get 4 MIDI faders here and this whole MIDI section of stuff that you can use to control things in your DAW or a soft synth. Let's take a closer look at one of the coolest features on this mixer, and that's these routing buttons for the digital send and receive, as well as the MIDI fader button. So this first button takes the send to the audio interface post EQ. Otherwise, I guess it's pre-EQ. The next button is the digital return button, and this one will return the digital return pre-insert and pre-EQ. The next button, digital return post-EQ. So this is going to bypass the insert and the EQ. This is the way I'm going to have it set for today's demonstration, so we don't have any EQ or anything on the insert jacks. And then this last one is the fader to MIDI button. And basically what that does is it sets the gain of the analog part to 0 and then allows the fader to become a DAW controller or part of this larger DAW controller. The back of the mixer, we've got the power button, the power input, views, and over here are the connections. These are firewire 400 connections. You got some switches here for firewire mode or ADAT mode. These ADAT ports will actually give you 8 extra inputs if you're using the firewire connection, or it would allow you to use the analog channels of the mixer with a different interface. For example, if you didn't have firewire or you were running an operating system that did not have drivers for the firewire interface in this mixer. Also, the Zed R16 is made in England. Now what are we going to do next with this? I think I'm going to run some tracks through this next so you can hear what some pre-recorded tracks, some stuff that I've probably used on the channel before. I'm going to play some tracks back through this in kind of the hybrid mix fashion, just to hear what the console sounds like with some tracks that have already been recorded running back through it and summing to the master bus of the console. I'm not going to use any outboard gear, just going to send some tracks from Reaper out through individual channels on the console to the master bus and capture that mix so we can hear kind of the tonality of the console without a whole lot of things going on. In future videos, I'm going to do another hybrid mix and hook up a bunch of outboard gear to the Zed R16 and see what kind of a mix we can get that way. But today is just kind of a dry run, and let's see what this actually sounds like on its own. That's going to be really fun. Let's check it out.
Head starts spinning like a hurricane.
I would definitely try to get the manual if you buy one of these, especially for the MIDI section. The audio interface and the analog portion of the console is pretty straightforward, but the MIDI section, they don't really cover it very well in the manual, but it does help a little bit. Well, this is a really cool little firewire mixer. This can do a lot of different things. It's also pretty compact. Make a great hybrid studio centerpiece. I'm going to make some more videos about this mixer, so make sure to check back on the channel. Also make sure to like this video and subscribe to the Twin Creek Audio YouTube channel if you have not done so already. Hope each and everyone out there has an excellent and wonderful day, night, evening, weekday, weekend, hour, minute, second, nanosecond. Whatever it is you're having, have a good one. Thanks for watching.